Hi, so this is my response video for the assignment. So, first question, what practical lessons were offered in the video? I said, so identifying what kind of conversation you're having, whether that's a debate, discussion, or dialogue, dissecting if that conversation type is the appropriate type for the conversation you're a part of. So, like, being able to see which of the three it is and, like, if that is the most beneficial. Ways to then influence the type of conversation. So, like asking yourself three questions. And then being able to see when things are just not connecting between you and the other person, and the conversation is becoming more personal or heated than necessary. So, then for number two, how would you explain the video's main points to a 6-year-old? I said, so I would kind of go about it, which probably is a lot more wordy than it needs to be. So, sometimes when you're talking to someone, whether that's a friend, a parent, a teacher, or even a family member, you create this kind of conversation with that person. And that conversation, it could be a debate where, you and your friend are trying to almost win the conversation with facts, or it can be something called a discussion where you're kind of still wanting to win that conversation, but you're just more talking with your friend and it's not he at all. You're not trying to just use those facts. But then there's also a dialogue where you're more just listening to what your friend has to say and really trying to see what they're seeing. And to really see from like their eyes, oh, this is how they see it. And all three of these types are just very important and necessary for your life, but sometimes, they can be like a debate can be a lot more hurtful than you ever want it to be. So you just have to be careful. So then for number three, if you asked those closest to you to identify your current / predominant communication style using the option discussion, dialogue, or debate, what would they say and why? I think that a lot of my closest friends would probably say I'm more of a dialogue, just because I am a great listener with others and I try to like understand their viewpoint, whatever the topic may be. But I think sometimes that also works against me because I listen for a little too long, or I don't give my opinion soon enough, and then it becomes more of like a debate, I guess. But I do think, though, when I'm more emotionally charged, and that can be on like any topic, I do go more of a debate route because I am a pretty confrontational person, so I'm not afraid to hold back when I'm thinking. What habits or behaviors would you change based on what you learned? I think I would try to use more of this framework, especially when things are becoming a debate, when it's just unnecessary. So, like, asking myself the three questions and just really trying to see that person's perspective from their eyes, as opposed to just knowing what I saw and, like, what's right to me. If that makes sense? But, yeah, and then just trying to avoid, like, more personal digs and just conversations that do not need to be as personal. And then for the last question, what steps would you take to put an idea from the video into action? I think really just reading those three questions a lot and like consistently asking yourself them over and over and just keeping that awareness is probably the best way to put it into action, because the more that you practice thinking about those words and like what they mean, it'll become more natural for you then, and then that would lead to more dialogues as opposed to debates.